So in today's lesson, this is an introduction to outcome D expressions. And we're going to start off with a very basic lesson just called What is Algebra? All right, we're going to be talking about kind of the backbone of what are all the different pieces that make up algebra and just some vocab. All right, it's very strongly vocab oriented. So you can see in my essential questions right here, what is a variable, what is a coefficient, what is a constant, what is a term, and how do we identify these parts, the parts of an algebraic expression. So we're just going to skip down here to the bottom of my worksheet. These are the notes the kids got for today. And here's our vocab. And the way I discuss this with my students is normally math, the vocab is, it's important to know, but at the end of the day, you need to know the process of working out the problem. Here, you have to know the vocab. All right, there's just no way around it. You just need to memorize it, whatever you need to do to study vocabs, just the same thing as you would study a history vocab quiz or something like that. Just need to know what the words mean. So for a variable, it's a symbol for a number we don't know yet, represented by, this is the biggest piece of this sentence. It's represented by a letter. All right. So a variable, it's a letter. Now, sometimes, you can be goofy, and it can be like, a smiley face could be a variable and stuff like that. But in math, in my math class at least, we're going to be using letters, all right, a letter. And the way I explained it, A is a letter, all right? Now, I'm very specific with my A's. If I wrote it lowercase, that's one variable. Now, my uppercase A, that's going to be a different variable now, all right? They are different. One's lowercase, one's uppercase. Rarely does this ever happen, but just in case there is an instance where, you have a lowercase and an uppercase, they actually technically are different, okay? Next, we have a coefficient, all right? And I like to explain that it's just like a co-worker. It's somebody you work with, all right? So a coefficient, it's a number that's working with the variable. So it's a number used to multiply by a variable. For instance, if we have 5x, all right, well, the variable is x, the coefficient is working with the x. It's the 5 here. If you have negative 3y, all right, the variable is y, what's working with y? Well, this actually is an entire negative 3. Okay? Now, a constant, it's a number that doesn't change. It has a fixed value. So it's just, that's important there. It doesn't change. It's just a number. Okay? It's never going to be anything else. It could be 8. 8 is just a number. There's no variable with it. For instance, you could have 5x plus 8. All right? And it's just going to be, my constant is 8. All right? And then finally, we have a term. A term is a constant, a variable, or a coefficient and a variable separated by an operation. And more importantly, that operation is going to be addition or subtraction. Okay? And we're going to get a little bit more into a term here in just a second. So I'm just going to flip over the back of my notes here. Just some real quick things here. Actually, I'm going to skip down here for a second. A term. All right, I told you I was going to do this in a second, but a term can be assigned positive or negative number, a variable, or a coefficient multiplied by a variable or variables. That's multiple. Each term in an algebraic expression is separated by a plus or a minus sign. Okay, that's what I was talking about in the front. So, in order to separate my terms, because that's something we're going to want to do, especially when we get into simplifying expressions, we want to separate the terms. What I tell my kids to do is start at the left, all right, and we're going to underline everything until I get to a plus or a minus sign. Once I get to that, I'm going to box everything out. If I get to the end, I box everything out. So I have 15W here. All right, I start at the beginning. There's no plus or minus sign, so I get to the end, and I box everything out. I have one box, and there is one term. 15W, that's my term. All right, 7M, all right, I start, and I get to a minus sign, so I'm going to box out before I get to that minus sign. All right, and I continue boxing now and I have 2 boxes, which means 2 terms. And finally, on this problem here, 1, 2, 3. Notice I'm right before the symbol. The symbol gets attached to the next number. So I have 3 terms in this situation as well. Well, why did I do that before I could go up here to my other ones? It's important to be able to do that, and we're going to see here in number 3. So I start boxing them out here. 1, 2. So I have 2 terms first off. The constant, the number by itself, 8. Okay, so my answer for that one is 8. Box everything out there, and that's a plus 12. Actually got my pen in the way there. So the coefficient, now I look at x, and I see a negative sign, all right? Remember, the coefficient is working with this. So I'm just going to put that negative sign. But more importantly, if I ask my kids, okay, write the negative, and then look at it just like that. All right, how many x's are there? All right, up here they said that we had 6 x's. But right here, I just have, there's only 1 x. So that's only 1 there. All right, if I go, let's see, did I have an example like that on the front? I didn't. We'll do one here in a minute where I give that an example like that. And then right there, we box those off again. Once again, the constant. Why does this boxing work? Why do I want to do that? Because now I can be like, oh, well, the constant, it's not just 2, it's a -2 or a -2. All right, that sign goes with this following number. All right, so that's going to be important, especially when you get to like combining like terms and so on. All right, so we have 8, -1, -2. All right, box first, and then whatever the symbol is, it was just cover that up. It's a -2, so it's a -2. Okay, so I come down here, and I have just a series of questions, and we're just going to do the first one here. It's n plus 5. All right, well, what is the constant? Before I do that, I want to box everything out. Box it, box it. Okay, so I have n, and I have a positive 5. All right, so what is the constant? Well, it's a positive 5, which is just 5. What is the variable? Oh, it's just the letter. It's n. Okay, what is the coefficient? So once again, I look at that. What is working with the letter? All right, well, I look in front of it, and I don't see anything. So that's why I just asked my question. How many n's are there? I see 1. All right, I only see 1 n, so that's my coefficient. What is an algebraic expression? Well, real quick, an algebraic expression needs a variable, a symbol, meaning like operator, add, subtract, multiply, divide, and a number. And I see right here that it does have that. It has all 3 of those. So this is a yes. And how many terms? It has 1, 2. Okay. The only other one I want to look at is this one down here. This is a p. All right. So my constant. All right, while I don't see anything, there is a constant of 0. Okay. Because I could rewrite this as p plus 0. Okay. Which p plus 0, that's still the same thing as just p. So what is the variable? That is a p. All right. What is the coefficient? Well, how many p's do I have? I only have 1. All right. Is this an algebraic expression? Yes, it is. Why? Well, I have to look over here. I have an operator, I have a variable, and I have a number. And then finally, if yes, how many terms? It has, if we're just looking at this one again, just 1 term.